Hi, sweet friend. Welcome back to our cozy corner of the internet. Today, I have a gentle story to share, one meant for all ages, from little ones curled up with a blanket to adults winding down after a long day. So go ahead, make a warm drink, get comfortable, and let's step into a slower, simpler world. At the edge of a small green valley tucked between soft rolling hills, there was a little cottage with a blue door and ivy climbing up the sides. It sat quietly under the shade of two old chestnut trees, their wide arms reaching out like guardians over the roof. The garden was full of lavender and chamomile, and in the mornings, the air smelled like sun-warmed herbs and dew. The cottage belonged to a woman named Mira. She had silver hair tied into a braid, soft hands from years of gardening, and eyes that sparkled with calm. Mira lived alone, but she was never lonely. Her days were filled with gentle routines: tea at sunrise, tending her plants, feeding the birds, and walking through the woods that whispered with peace. People from the nearby village often visited Mira. They said being in her home made them feel lighter, like their worries melted away the moment they stepped onto the mossy stone path. Mira didn't have much. Her furniture was handmade, her shelves held only what she needed, and she wore the same soft linen dresses season after season. But there was a quiet joy in her home, something warm and invisible that clung to the air like the scent of fresh bread. One breezy afternoon, a young traveler named Lynn knocked on Mira's door. Lynn had been walking for days, carrying a heavy pack filled with souvenirs, trinkets, and gadgets from the city. "Come in," Mira smiled. "You look like someone who's been chasing too many things at once." Lynn laughed sheepishly. "Maybe I have." And just like that, under the watchful eyes of the chestnut trees, a new friendship began, one that would gently change the way Lynn saw the world. The next morning, Lynn woke on the window bed in Mira's cottage to the sound of morning birds and soft rain tapping on the roof. A mug of warm cinnamon tea sat beside the bed, along with a note that read, "Meet me in the garden when you're ready." Outside, the world glistened. The garden was a patchwork of green and bloom, buzzing softly with bees and life. Mira knelt beside a row of sage, pulling weeds with care. "I slept so well," Lynn said, stretching. "Your home is so peaceful." Mira looked up, smiling. "It's peaceful because I've made space for it. When we hold too much in our homes or our hearts, there's no room left for calm." Lynn thought about the heavy bag they'd carried, packed with too many clothes, too many books, too many just-in-case things. "I always thought having more made life better," Lynn admitted. Mira patted the soil. "I used to think that too. But every time I gave something away, I felt lighter, happier, like I was coming back to myself." They spent the morning harvesting mint, drying lavender, and hanging bundles of herbs in the kitchen. Lynn noticed how every item Mira owned had a place, a purpose, and a story. Her home felt full, but never cluttered. It breathed. Later, they sat under the chestnut trees with slices of plum cake. "Doesn't it feel good," Mira said, "to simply be, without rushing, without buying or proving or earning your rest?" Lynn nodded. "It feels like I finally stopped running." And that evening, as fireflies blinked to life in the garden, Lynn unpacked their bag, not to sort, but to let go. The next few days passed in a gentle rhythm. Mornings began with tea. Afternoons brought slow walks through fields dotted with wildflowers, and evenings were for stories shared under the stars. Lynn started noticing little things: the way sunlight filtered through lace curtains, the sound of bees humming near the window, the smell of warm bread fresh from Mira's oven. One day, Lynn brought out their backpack. "I want to show you what I've let go of," they said, gently tipping it out onto the wooden floor. There were colorful scarves, mismatched socks, gadgets, travel books, and souvenirs from places Lynn barely remembered. They smiled. "I used to think these things told the story of who I was. And now?" Mira asked softly. "I think I want to write a new story, one that doesn't weigh so much." Mira's eyes twinkled. "Then you're already on your way." Together, they sorted the items. Some were given to the village children, who made crafts and games from them. Others were repurposed or donated. Lynn kept only a few: a journal, a carved wooden bird, and a small photo of their grandmother. Mira helped Lynn make a small shelf above the window, just for those treasures. "Now everything has space to breathe," she said. In the calm that followed, Lynn began to feel something new. Peace, deep and still. It wasn't excitement or pride. It was quieter than that, like the way sunlight warms your back when you're not even thinking about it. That night, Mira handed Lynn a smooth, hand-painted stone. "For your pocket," she said. A reminder that enough is a beautiful word, and Lynn, for the first time in a long while, felt whole. On Lynn's last morning in the valley, the sky was a soft grey blue, and a gentle mist hung over the hills. Mira packed a small basket for the road bread, cheese, apples, and a tiny jar of lavender honey. "I don't want to leave," Lynn said, standing at the cottage gate. "This place, it's changed me." Mira rested a hand on their shoulder. "The peace you found here, it lives inside you now. You'll carry it wherever you go." They hugged beneath the chestnut trees, and as Lynn turned to walk down the winding path, they felt lighter not just in body, but in heart. With fewer things, every step felt freer. Back in the city, Lynn returned to their apartment with fresh eyes. They opened windows to let in the breeze, gave away the things that no longer brought joy, and filled their home with plants and sunlight. Their space became quiet, intentional, not empty, but meaningful. Friends came to visit and noticed the change. "It feels calm here," one said. "Peaceful," Lynn smiled, pouring tea into handmade cups. "That's the idea." And so, Lynn began living simply, not perfectly, but purposefully. With fewer distractions, they had more time to walk, to read, to laugh with loved ones. Life was not louder, it was deeper. Closing narrator voice. Thank you for joining me, dear friend, for this gentle story of slowing down and finding joy in simplicity. If you felt a little lighter, a little more peaceful, I hope you'll carry that feeling with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back anytime you need a cozy escape. Until then, remember, enough is always enough. Hade.